I think it's important to have on record why an educator for 18 years would leave. Somebody whose passion was teaching and learning. And it took a while for my story to come out because a lot of my immediate team members were still at my former place of work. So I feel that not only was I burning a bridge, if I were to tell my story earlier, my own bridge, which I still feel like I'm doing, going through my experience, but also burning bridges for them. And when you deal with institutions, organizations that in the first place aren't very open and transparent, you know that they're going to close doors for you even more if you bring up certain things that are maybe abrasive and go against the grain. And I look at myself in those last few months, and I had turned into somebody that maybe I needed to be, but that wasn't ever me in my professional life, that I was always collaborative. But you get in a certain environment where everything you do didn't matter. Everything you do, people were working against you, and you had to put out not only your fires, but other people's fires. And when you're putting out more fires than your own, it becomes very frustrating, and no matter what you say or do, it still doesn't change. And so you need to move on and do something where what you do matters, what you do is appreciated. And so lessons learned in higher education as a contingent worker, the system definitely needs some renovations. I think many futurists get frustrated to see how things should be, but the status quo goes against that future time and time again. The place and time aren't right. The support infrastructure isn't built yet, and maybe it wasn't going to be built for a while. So you know that something is definitely off course from the direction that you were heading, and that's why I left. My inner compass was telling me, you need to leave. The writing's on the wall. It's unfortunate because I think this is happening in other areas of education. We have an old model that is breaking, if not already broken. We have dedicated, highly qualified individuals who get weeded out or beat down because they are trying to make a difference. I am sure I was a thorn in many a side in the months leading up to my departure. I had turned into a no person that for nearly 2 decades had always been a yes girl, because I was fortunate to have been working in environments that were supportive and also progressive, something that I believe in, always have, the changes in technology and how they can be molded to education. You seem to get the support of others around campus, maybe your networks internationally or across the country, but your direct employer doesn't see the value of what you're doing, even when you bring in experts from other units around campus, higher administrators who are knowledgeable about blended distance and online. If veteran educators or educational technologists ask certain questions about a project, it is for a very good reason. They ask because they've already dealt with those fires and problem-solved issues that other less experienced than they aren't even aware of. And they will tell you projects that are very similar to the situation that you are dealing with. Yet is to keep up a steady stream of your own questions. Keep those working with you or under you in an infinite loop of communication. At the end, after I gave notice that I was leaving, the only question that I remember is who would replace me. I knew at that moment that I had made the right decision. And even as I am talking through this, I feel like I'm burning bridges in whoever might stumble across this journal, this video journal that I'm doing. But I think it's important to show that someone who believes in what they were doing, dedicated so many times. If I had counted all the hours in those 18 years that I did, it would have been astounding how much time I put in. And a lot of educators do this. They work overtime all the time because they care.